What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Evening Double podcast. This is episode number 27. We've got a great one for you today. We just wrapped up recording with Matt Muller. He's the owner of Ken Combs Running Store here in Louisville on Shelbyville Road. It was an awesome conversation. We started diving into Matt's own running journey, what his unconventional approach was that ended up leading him to take over one of Kentucky's and Louisville's most iconic running stores. A little bit about how the specialty running industry is evolving and why local run shops continue to play such an important role in building community around this sport. We also talk about his training. He's preparing to run the 2026 New York City Marathon, and he's also running and supporting an incredible charity. So we're going to take in a little bit about that. If Matt's story inspires you, be sure to check out the show notes below. We've linked also from Ken Combs Running Store as well as Matt's charity fundraiser and ways you can follow along and continue to support that with him during his New York City Marathon journey. As always, thank you guys so much for listening, whether it's your first episode or you've been with us from the beginning. We appreciate every download, share, and anybody who tunes in each week. So if you are enjoying it, give us a 5-star review and share it with a friend. We really appreciate it. Also, give us a follow on Instagram at The Evening Double. Your support is what keeps this podcast going. But without further ado, our conversation with Matt Muller.
A lot of run stores are, it's a tough business right now with everything that's going on. But we're live here, episode 27 with Matt Muller, owner of Ken Combs Running Store here in Louisville, Kentucky. Matt, we appreciate having you on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah.
So we just wanted to. Yeah, go ahead, Keeton.
You got it. No, I was just going to say thanks for coming on as well. We kind of just wanted to, get to know you a little bit before we dive into, you being the owner of Ken Combs Running Store, but kind of just take us through who is Matt and what got you into the sport and what keeps you involved in the sport.
Yeah, good questions. So my running journey started, I think, back in 5th grade. My parents moved over to Indiana. At the time, I was in Jefferson County schools, and they didn't offer cross country in the grade school. Not until I think you had to be in middle school before they offered it. So we moved over there, and it was offered. And I was like, heck yeah, I love to run. I love chasing my friends around. Let's do this. And so I started running cross country when we moved over there. And so that's where it all started, Georgetown Elementary School back in the mid 90s, and continued to run all the way through high school, and just continued to run throughout my life. Didn't run competitively in college or anything, but always been something I've done. A reason why I did it and continue to do it is, it's a good way to clear your head. There's a lot of community and camaraderie in running. You get a lot of friends through the sport, and that aspect of it, when you're out there sharing a few miles with folks, you're both 2, 3, 4, however many of you, 10, 12 of you, sometimes on Saturday morning runs, it feels like there's 50 of us out there.
Yeah.
But you're all out there working hard, having fun together. And, there's nothing like it. It's a lot of fun and it's enjoyable. It's a way to clear your head, get creative with ideas, joke around with one another. It's just, you can't do that doing anything else. And, so, just always been doing it, enjoy it. Now kind of focus my attention more as I've gotten older, and as my kids have gotten older, when I have time, I, focused on marathons now, whereas it used to be, half marathon or 5Ks and all of that stuff. So, but I still like running those every now and then. If there's a starting line, I'll probably go and run that race. So, just a lot of fun.
That's awesome. And one thing I know that you're doing this year that I wanted to touch on is New York City Marathon, the one that I can't get into is an ongoing joke here. Matt knows. Matt's totally knows how mad I get
I
about
don't
not
think
getting in.
anybody can get in.
But you got in with charity. You're doing a fundraiser for a great cause. Tell me a little bit about that and what you got to do and why you're doing it.
Yeah, thanks for asking about that. Like a lot of people, such as yourself, I did not get into New York the old-fashioned way. It doesn't matter how fast you run. It seems like or how many lotteries you get in. It's so hard to get in. But without really me knowing, my wife decided to sign me up for a charity bid, and I was fortunate enough to be selected. I had to go through a little bit of a process, but it's for Breakthrough T1D. What Breakthrough T1D, they're formerly known as JDRF, or the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. So they are a nonprofit out there raising money to help folks with type 1 diabetes. It's near and dear to my heart because I'm type 1 diabetic. I was diagnosed when I was 2. So essentially, I've lived my entire life with diabetes. So, working with a charity like that, combined with running, it only made sense. So, great cause that I'm fortunate enough to be a partner with. We're not quite to my goal yet, but we're getting there. I'm not that far away, but it brings a different meaning to running New York this year, just because of that aspect of it. And diabetes research has come a long way since my time. Having it, when I was a kid, managing it was completely way different than it is now. And so being able to raise some money for a good cause like that to help folks such as myself or future generations of kids that are diagnosed with diabetes. It's something that's easy to get behind for me, and fortunate that they picked me and I get to be a part of it.
Do you know how many runners are a part of that this year?
With the charity,
Yeah,
with that charity
Yeah.
specifically, it's a good question. I'd have to go and reach out. I'm not sure. There is a leaderboard for folks raising money.
I got you.
So I can see kind of what the top 20 are doing, but I'm not sure exactly how many. I know they're all throughout the U.S. I think I'm the only person in Kentucky. There's possibility maybe being one other one, but there's not many. I'm not sure from a charity standpoint how they rank with the others, but they have a pretty big goal. I think it's a couple 100,000 that they're trying to raise just through New York alone.
Yeah, that's super awesome. I love to see running become this like platform where people are able to raise awareness. I love it seeing different groups and charities go for make that their like fundraising goals at races and stuff. That's super fun. Love seeing the signs out there. I just did the USA 8K champs, and the first race went off was a wheelchair push charity run, and so that was before the pros, before anything like that. It was that, and the whole community loves it, and that's always such an elevating platform for awareness. We'll have to have you send us maybe some information on how people can go and potentially donate, and we'll link that in the show notes for any listeners that are interested in looking into the charity and seeing what they can potentially provide, help Matt maybe crack that top 20 and really support a great cause.
Yeah, there's nothing stopping me from raising more than what I have to. So anytime we can get behind a good cause like that and help folks like me, maybe it won't affect me, but maybe it'll affect somebody I know's kids or my grandkids, or you never know. But I'm excited. I'm able to do something good with running. So.
Yeah, and I had a question off that actually. With having the type 1 diabetes, does that affect your running at all? Like, do you have to do different things
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean, it's always something I got to think about. Um, Even on short runs, easy runs, I got to make sure I either eat something or have gels packed on me, just for some quick sugar if I need it. Um, you just never know when your blood sugar is going to drop, and you got to get something on you. But yeah, it makes it difficult, especially training for a marathon. You have these long runs. A lot of them have work built in, so you're working hard. You're pushing your body. It's definitely something that I have to, monitor, and I'm always tweaking with it. How much insulin do I need? How much do I cut it? How much, do I need to fuel with? What's my workout today? How's my, am I drinking enough water? Because I feel like that affects it. Am I getting enough protein? I mean, all these different things go into it, and kind of playing scientist a little bit, trying to figure out the right combination that works for you. And everybody's different. You have other diabetics that come in the store asking about nutrition and things like that. And I tell them what works for me. But everybody's a little bit different. So you kind of have to figure that out. But it's something I have to consider with every run I go.
That was something I was going to ask too, as soon as you said that. But I was going to ask a little bit about, do you think that, obviously, it's probably gotten a little bit easier to manage as you've gotten used to it. Things have changed, different information has come out. But as run fueling has changed drastically in the last few years, has there been, a go-to kind of thing that definitely has changed, like maybe for the better, of how you've been able to manage that?
Yeah, I think a lot more gel options out there are good. You're not just stuck with the same stuff. There's different types of fuel, different fuel sources. Whether they're using real food or something made up in a lab. Different ones work differently. So I think as new things have come out, or as I've tried different types, that I've been able to figure out what works well for me. Some I know take a little bit longer to absorb, some are quicker. So it just, I've been able to play with it and try new stuff. And so it's helped because, it's allowed me to figure out what the right combo is and what I need. And, based on the type of run, I know I kind of do well with this kind of gel or that, or maybe I need some real food beforehand. So, or drinking it or whatever, depending on what the run is. Yeah, new, I guess, technology and the gels, the new types of gels, and the new ways of presenting it has definitely helped because it brings some new options to the table that we didn't have before.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Matt, what we'll do is we're gonna go through a few rapid fires. We call them rapid fires, and I think they end up being like the slowest and questions that we end up asking. But
Yeah,
you
we
can
just
answer it however you want.
Yeah, we end up asking just extremely thought-provoking, long-winded answers. No, I'm just joking. Take it as long, yeah, long or as short as you feel comfortable.
All right. First one. Favorite race you ever done and why?
That's a good one. I'm going to go all the way back to my high school days, sophomore year, conference meet, JV conference championship. It's the only cross country race I ever won.
Heck
So,
yeah. There you go.
So that one was awesome. So I went to Floyd Central High School, and for those in the area that know, like Floyd Central and New Albany, there's a little bit of a rivalry there. Not really a little bit; it's a lot of bit. But this guy from New Albany went out fast, and I just kind of sat back and reeled him in the whole way. And last, I don't know, 3/4 of a mile, half mile, I took off up this hill at Community Park and dropped him, and it was awesome. I don't know. It just the one race I ever won in cross country. Highlight of my career. I peaked at 10th grade JV cross country. I ran a lot of varsity after that, but that's probably my, anytime you get a chance to cross the finish line first, I think that always has to be high on your list.
Yeah, for sure. What keeps you motivated now to continue running and chase some marathons and things?
Yeah, I think for me, I'm not done yet. I know I'm probably, I'm in my 40s. I'm not, I'm still going to be running, right? I'm still going to be able to run marathons, but who knows when that last race is going to come where I'm like, I've already run my fastest marathon. So I want to keep chasing goals. I'm also running Chicago this fall. So I'm going to do the Chicago, New York double and get after it in Chicago.
Makes sense.
So just try, still pushing to see how fast I can go. Push myself to, go big, right? Try new things, push and see what that limit is. Even as I get older, I still have goals. I still want to push for new things and try to set my own personal records. And, that's kind of the drive. Like I'm not done yet. I still think there's some opportunity out there for me. And I want to chase it while I can. While I'm still injury free, knock on wood, and if the opportunity's there, I'm going to go for it.
Yeah, and going right off of that, what's your marathon PR?
2:55:21. So that was at Bayshore last year in 2025, and that was the first time breaking 3. Still my PR. Almost got it this year at Boston. I wasn't too far off, but so we're going to try to break that this fall, though.
I was just going to say, and then right after it, what is your goal marathon PR? So basically not like your next one. So say it'll let you sleep at night. That's going to, as you said, it's my fastest I'm going to do. I can't get faster. What is your all-time goal to get to?
Yeah, being that I'm older and didn't start running these till later on, my goal is probably not as big as it could have been if I did, marathons and training the right way, but earlier on. But I think if I can get, mid 240s, 244, 245, something like that, I'd be like perfectly content with that. But if I don't get it, I'm not going to be upset. I think I can get there. Maybe not this year, maybe next year. We'll see. But as long as I stay injury free, I think I'm going to have a shot at it on the right, on the right day. I think I can probably get there, but we'll, take some work, a little bit more work, but keep building block on block, and we'll see what happens.
Last rapid fire I've got for you. If an out-of-towner comes in, where would you, 1, take them on a run, and 2, maybe dinner or lunch post-run? Where would you take them?
That's a good one. Well, given that I run in Cherokee Park all the time because I live right by it, I'd probably take them over there and show them the hills of Cherokee. Maybe, depending on how long the run is, maybe up through Seneca, get the Seneca Cherokee double. But afterwards, let's see, have to go somewhere with some really cold beer. Maybe like FABD because it's nearby, Frankfurt Avenue Beer Depot. It's always a good hangout. It's kind of a, kind of rustic place. It smells good with all the barbecue. They have cold beer, lively crowd. So probably would do something like that.
Yeah, that sounds great.
All right, I got one last one. Would you ever run a 100-miler?
Ooh, I don't know. Maybe not a 100-miler. I've seen what it does to people. It would have to be the right 100-miler, maybe 100K. I don't know if I'd do a 100-miler, maybe 100K. Probably a 50-miler. I think I could.
50?
I definitely would probably do a 50. I don't know if I want to, but I would if I had to. 100, man, 100 would be so hard.
I don't think anyone would make you do a 50-miler.
No, I don't think so. I had a guy that used to work for me a couple of years ago. he's into ultras and stuff, and he ran a 100 miler, and he came back and worked like a couple days later. I'm like, what are you doing? He looked like walking death for like 3 or 4 days working. I'm like, what are you doing? I don't think I want to go through that.
Yeah.
So,
Let's see how
but
that
you
goes.
run slower, I guess. I don't know. It's not like you're at like marathon race pace or anything like that.
Yeah.
If it was a flat one, maybe like Tunnel Hill or something like that.
Yeah.
Kind of flat and easy.
I think
But
that's
probably-
where Charlie Lawrence has that world record. I think it's from Tunnel Hill. Could be
Yeah, I
wrong.
think so.
But before we transition a little bit to talking about Ken Combs, I actually had something I wanted to ask you about. You're chasing these marathon goals. What does your training look like? How many miles a week do you run typically? And then one other thing was you mentioned long runs, having some work in them. What's kind of the structure of how you go about, chasing 245 here?
Yeah, so I work with a coach. I think you guys know him. He was a previous guest of yours, Mike Corfage. I've been working with Corf for a couple years now. He's become a good friend of mine, so we work really well together, and I feel comfortable working with him. Yeah, mileage wise, I'm in the 60s. Let's see, last week 3 or 4. I got to the 60s last week. I'll be in the 60s this week. I'm not like a super high mileage guy. I mean, I'll peak maybe at 70, upper 60s. I don't feel like I need like a ton of mile. I'm not like 70s, 80s guy. I think that's too much for me. So I kind of get mid to upper 60s, push 70 peak week. And that seems to work well for me. I think the other thing is building block on block. There's not really a whole lot of downtime in between as well. So I'm able to stay consistent, and that's really been a big piece of it as well, and staying injury free. But yeah, so long runs. Usually the shortest long run I go on is for me is about 16, and that's usually on a cut down week. I'll have probably 4 20-milers this block. Yeah, probably something in that ballpark for long runs. It's usually 18 to 20 on long runs. So what one of those runs for me looks like, usually some easy mixed in with some tempo. This week's a little bit different. I have like a double progression. That's only like 16 miles this week, but like back-to-back 8-mile progressions.
Interesting.
So I'm starting at like I don't know, for me, it's like 740 down to 630, 10 seconds, cut down 10 seconds each mile, and then I'll for 8 miles and then go back to 730 and cut down to 620, I think. So that's a little bit different than one I've done before. Usually, like last week, 20-miler, I had some easy and then 2 4-mile blocks, at one at like 630 and one at 620 with like another 4-mile block in there at like something moderate, low 7s, mid 7s. So it kind of depends. Corf, he likes to mix tempos in, and some on offs every now and then. Usually at pace or marathon pace or faster with the speed work. There's always, as you guys know, midweek workout, typically Wednesdays. Tempos, some 800s, mile repeats, kind of just depends on where we are in the block, whether it's more speed focused or more kind of endurance focused.
Are you getting ready for your next training block, chasing a PR, training for your first marathon? Or maybe you're just tired of getting generic training plans and AI coaches that are giving you impossible splits. That's where we come in. If you're looking for coaching that's actually built around you, your schedule, your goals, and your life, we'd love to help. I coach through KT Running Company, specializing in individualized run coaching for any athlete from high school, college, and road racing looking to reach the next level. Erik coaches through Stride Core Fitness, offering personalized run coaching along with strength training and Pilates to help you stay healthy, build durability, and perform your best. If you're interested in working with either of us, send us a message on Instagram or check out the links in the show notes to schedule a free call. We'd love to learn about your goals and help you put together a plan that actually works for you. Now, let's get back to the episode.
Sweet.
So yeah, now that we got to know Matt from the running side of things. Let's get to know Matt, the store owner kind of side of you. So you move into ownership of Ken Combs Running Store. It's a very rooted and historic Louisville running store. Did you work there prior, or what kind of brought the relationship there to bring that partnership and eventual ownership into play?
Yeah, kind of took a backwards way into it, especially compared to a lot of other folks. A lot of other folks usually that are owners or part of an ownership group or something like that, they tend to work their way up through the store, maybe as an associate, and then work up into management, and then eventually into ownership. They may buy the store or they jump into a group. I did it a little bit differently. I came more from the corporate side of things, not in running, not like run corporate or anything like that. More out, working for financial institutions, like out in the real world, I guess I should say. Big boy job. Not that this isn't, it very much is, but had to look nice every day when I walked into the office. But I had been working at a small law firm right before coming into the store, basically managing everything but the attorneys. And it was a job that was good. I enjoyed it, but I wanted something a little bit more. I'm like, I kind of want this, but for myself. And I had been a long time customer of Ken Combs, going back to whenever, and shopped there quite a bit, bought pretty much all my shoes there. I heard through the grapevine that Larry Holt, previous owner, he's the stepson of Ken, so Ken owned it, and when he sold it to Larry. Larry was wanting to retire. He was getting a little bit older and just ready to settle down and step away from the store, because he had been involved from the very beginning. Back in the store's founded back in 1980, and it was time for him to kind of step away and retire. So I heard through some friends that he's looking to sell. It's kind of an interesting story. So at the time when I found out, we got together and talked. It was like, hey, here you might be selling the store. I'd be interested in buying it. Like I said, I want to do something for myself, longtime customer, really enjoy the sport of running. I was like, this is a way for me to combine my passion along with, my business background, the drive to wanting to work for myself. Also give my schedule a little bit, as my kids were getting a little bit older. My daughter was, going into high school at the time. My son was in middle school, I guess. And then, I have a younger, I have 3 kids, and, I wanted to be around a little bit more for their stuff. I want to have a little bit of flexibility with my schedule as well. So I figured, there might be nights where I'm working, there might be, early mornings, but at least I can kind of be there a little bit more for them. Make sure I don't miss anything, because I was starting to get to the point where I was missing some things here and there. So it all made sense, right? Just go for this, go after this opportunity. Well, the only problem was Larry already had a buyer. So he was going to sell to his then manager, so somebody had come up through the store like most traditional folks. And I was like, okay, well, if it's not going to work, it's not going to work. Well, about 5 or 6 months later, I get this random text message or email from Larry, like, hey, are you still interested? They had a falling out, and it ended up deal not going through. So it just so happened that, right place at the right time. I thought the opportunity had blown away, and very fortunate that, unfortunate for them, but fortunate for me that the opportunity was still alive. And so we started talking, met a few times, came to an agreement, and started doing some due diligence. And kind of the rest is history. Kind of went and followed this weird, random passion, and had to sell my wife on the idea. And she, fortunately she supported me. She just wanted me to be happy in whatever I was doing. And here we are. It took a little while to get to the finish line, a little bit longer than what we wanted, but we got there. And it's been about almost 3.5 years now. It's been a lot of fun.
And Matt, that's a interesting story. I mean, to go from where you were to owning a running store, you don't usually see that. I feel like it's more of like what you said with like Larry or actually Ken Combs, like they found it, they worked there forever, or someone that works there forever works their way up. So that's definitely interesting, a different way around it. I guess we have a ton of questions. I mean, as a running store owner, there's just so much going on, especially these days. I guess my first one, what is like the biggest change you've made since you've taken it over?
Oh man, I think for anybody that has been a longtime customer, when you walk in, I think the biggest change is that there's not stuff everywhere. People come in, there's like, oh, there's so much space in here. There was stuff like floor to ceiling, every wall was covered, all kinds of apparel and braces and shoelaces and everything. It was all over the place. I mean, there was just a lot of stuff. I think, and Larry was not really in a bad way, but trying to be a lot of things for a lot of people. There was a lot of redundancy with product, a lot of sock brands that we no longer carry. So I think the biggest change is just kind of trimming all that down, kind of cutting the fat. Let's just focus on like one brand of like support brace, like knee braces and ankle brace kind of stuff, ortho stuff. We don't need all these sock brands over here. We can cut some socks. Curating the wall of shoes and making sure we have the right mix of product there that's going to attract the people we want in the store. So that's kind of getting it right size from an inventory standpoint and making sure we have the right inventory in there. So it can be merchandised properly, so the store isn't so cluttered, and that it's not overwhelming when you walk in.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and so going off that, did you have have you guys expanded your actual brand of shoes that you're carrying, or have you kind of streamlined a little bit? I feel like it's in a boom again of every brand has some variation of the same shoe now. I think it was the same way maybe 15 years ago, and then it narrowed, and now it's kind of booming again from a just variety of selection. I feel like I see like Li Ning now has a super shoe, and Diadora has now come back as a brand that was kind of dead, at least in the U.S. from a running standpoint. So have you guys kind of adapted to that and kind of changed as that ebbs and flows, or you guys kind of stick a little bit more true to some of the more standard brands?
Probably a little bit of both. There's a lot out there. In fact, I just had a meeting with a brand yesterday that's, more of a traditional gym shoe, but now kind of trying to make a push into the run space a little bit more. There's other brands that are coming that have been more apparel brands that are now coming out with shoes, and they're, maybe you carry their apparel. So they want you to carry their shoes. So it's hard. You're getting hit left and right with all kinds of new stuff. And some of it's really good, but you have to think about, like, are my customers going to want this? Am I going to be able to sell this? How does it differentiate itself from something else that I already have? And, so we go, and I value my staff, in their opinions and what, I ask them about it, and we talk about it. And sometimes we bring new stuff in. So so from that standpoint about, bringing new stuff in, we've kind of expanded our speed stuff a little bit more on the carbon side, and a little bit more on like the plated trainer side, the kind of speedier shoes. We've brought in some new brands since I've been there, expanded within brands. So one of the brands, for example, it's not a very big brand, but Topo, it's a kind of a natural foot shape shoe. We brought them in. We kind of, expanded with some brands, and then we've cut some other brands down. We brought in Adidas. We're trying to figure out how that fits into the store, and if we want to continue to work with them, we've tried to bring in some other brands too, and they've kind of been hesitant, or maybe after meeting with them, we're like, this isn't quite the right thing for us, but. So we're always evaluating what's out there, trying to make those determinations if it's right for us, if it's right for our customers, is it something that's going to, work for us, and that's one of the hardest things. Like, we got to tell our customers. I think a lot of folks, they don't understand that just because we're a running store doesn't mean we carry every brand and every shoe within every brand. So it's hard sometimes when customers come in looking for something specific, and we have to tell them, no, we don't, you got to go somewhere else, because, they want to shop with us. They want to shop local. And you just hope the next time that we do have something for them. But, you can't be everything. Kind of going back to that comment earlier, you can't be everything for everyone all the time. You hope that you have something for them. But sometimes somebody wants something you just don't have. So, and it's hard. Like, how do you make those decisions? Like, what's the right decision? As you said, Keeton, like, some of them are the same, basically the same shoe, but just a different label on it. So, what's the right mix of shoes? What's the right product lines to bring in? What's the right colors? What's the, all this stuff. It can be difficult. And, you always, in your reps, they're good to work with. I have some great reps. They're very knowledgeable. They've been around for a long time. I trust them. But at the same time, they're pushing you to carry more and more of their stuff. So you kind of have to figure out what's going to work and what's not. And sometimes you try things and they work. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes it's a little bit of, let's throw the dart at the wall and see how close we get to the bullseye.
Yeah, and one thing on that is, there's so many different brands that have been working with you right now. I mean, the one that I think that has been the most impressive and that you carry is Asics. I love the Nova Blast. Like, they're just my favorite trainer. I don't know if I'll ever change. I'll just keep wearing them down and getting another pair. What shoes or brands have you seen that have been most popular, in the last, like, maybe year or two?
Yeah, well, I mean, Brooks has always kind of been at the top. They're number one in run specialty. I think part of it's just they do some other things with some other types of shoes that work for some people, like typically some older folks or people that have some foot issues that other brands just don't have. So that kind of helps push them a little bit. But you mentioned Asics. That's a shoe brand that we've really seen grow since I've taken over the store. They've invested a lot into their what we call tech reps. Those are the folks that go out and have events. So, for example, you mentioned Nova Blast. That the Nova Blast 6 came out last month. Well, last night we had a demo with the local run club. Tech rep comes in town. demo shoes for people to go and try. We've done it with Super Blast. We've done it with previous Nova Blast. We've done it with the Mega Blast and the Sonic Blast. So they really, part of them growing is because they've invested resources into, having these events with local run clubs and getting shoes on people's feet so they can try them out. So we've had a lot of success with them in the store because they've partnered with us and makes it fun, right? It's like a party, and it's a good time. So yeah, they've grown quite a bit. Hoka's always on the cutting edge. They're always pushing like the cool factor, I guess, more on a lifestyle side, I think. But Saucony's done some great things with their speed shoes. They all kind of have their niche, right? And they're all kind of known for different things. So depending on your customer, you kind of know which brand to pull. But I think making it fun, making it cool, having some fast stuff, people like being flashy, especially runners. They want to look the part, they think it helps them run faster if they look cool. So you got to have the fun shoes to run in,
Yeah, that's what they say. Look good, feel good, run good. So that's always been a thing. And running, I don't think will ever escape the like bright neon like vibe. I think every brand, at least every brand has gone through the bright neon phase. I think Brooks has stayed true to it. They've always been the neon brand. At least in my head, they've always been the bright green, neon green brand. So yeah, running is always bright colors, which I think also plays into. I always think light colored shoes or bright colored shoes feel faster. So that's been my theory. Is I'd rather have that than just like an all black trainer. I feel like that to me that's a slow trainer. So so I think the running brands that they're just going with what I think on that for sure. But
I feel like old people wear the all black stuff. I don't want to be associated.
I had to buy my grandpa a pair of the it was like all black the leather Brooks Adrenaline, I think what it was. He's a referee.
The addiction walker.
Yes, and he's a referee for the KHSA basketball, and he had me pick him up a pair, and I was just like, this is. I know it's for being a referee, but the all black shoe, man, that's just should be illegal. Yeah. But
they got the all black leather. It even comes in Velcro. So.
On the other side of not shoes, but kind of like the fuel and gel that I think has skyrocketed recently. Has there been a brand or kind of a gel or just fuel side in general that's kind of taken off?
Yeah, I mean that's the one area where we've seen a lot of change because there's all kinds of new stuff, right? New science, new technology, more carbs, less carbs, sodium, all this stuff. It's coming from all different directions, and they're all trying to be the latest and greatest. So that's the one area where we've played around a lot. We brought in a lot of new stuff. We've tried it. Some's done well, some hasn't. We faded some stuff out. Morton, since we brought it in, has been a leader in that area. Just it's well known. A lot of premier elite athletes use it. So it's like it's the same stuff. World records are being set with, right? So it's easy to sell. A lot of different types of fuel. Whether it's Huma with the chia based, or now you get a lot with the 2-to-1 ratio maltodextrin to dextro or whatever. I don't know all the sugars are, but sodium, caffeine. How does all this play in? But we've brought a lot of new stuff in. We've seen a lot of success. It's really cool because like through the feed, I know a lot of people order stuff through there, but they have a business side, so it allows us to get stuff that from like international manufacturers, and we're able to bring stuff in that maybe would be 10 years ago, 5 years ago, a little bit harder to get our hands on. So we brought in like Amax, which is a Dutch brand, Fix, which is Australian or New Zealand, some from down there. So we're always trying new things, seeing what works. There's all kinds of new products out there. Um, that's the one area we can play with and try different things. We brought in CIS recently, the Science and Sport. That's done really well for us. Huma does really well for us. So, and of course, Goo. It's been around. People know it. All kinds of crazy flavors. But we've seen a big jump in like electrolytes. More people are focused on that more than they were a few years ago. There's all kinds of new stuff there. There's always some new latest and greatest, and we're always open to trying new things. I feel pretty prideful of our nutrition section. I feel like we have one of the best selections, if not the best in the city, when it comes to the running stores, and pretty much against anybody else. We're always open to try new things. So if there's something somebody out there mentions to us, we look into it, and if there's a way for us to get it and it makes sense for us to bring it in, we'll bring it in. Not all fuels are work with retail stores, so sometimes it's difficult, but if there's an opportunity for us to get it and we think it'll do well, we'll bring it in.
And Matt, obviously talking about all these different companies, everything to work with, I guess this is the biggest question that I have, and I'm sure other people have as well, is the competition right now. It's got to be the hardest thing. I mean, it's clear as day. You can go to Amazon and get whatever you need, right? How do you compete with online shopping and big retailers? Like, I know it's hard. I just want to hear kind of your strategies to do that.
Yeah, it's hard. I just actually had about a 30-minute conversation with one of my reps this afternoon about it, and it's really interesting because the sport is growing. I mean, it's undeniable, right? There's more run clubs. You see more people out running. Marathons are selling out faster than ever. More and more people are running. It's interesting because we get to kind of the opposite side of that is the industry will run specialty specifically, not necessarily the running industry, isn't really growing with that. So folks they're going somewhere. They're not coming to run specialty. Where are they going? The big box, or where I think online. And it's hard. It's hard for us because we're not just battling Amazon. We're battling our vendors. We're battling Brooks and Asics and Saucony and Hoka because they can sell direct to consumers and make more money because they're selling them at retail. They're selling to us at wholesale. So, it's better for them to sell online. They make more. And, the other side of that too is colors. Like, they make so many colors and you can't carry them all, and somebody wants a specific color, so they have to go somewhere to get it. Sometimes we don't even have access to it. They make it, they've seen it at Dick's, but they want to shop local, or they see it at Academy, or they see it online. Well, sometimes we don't even have access to those colors. Now, conversely, sometimes we have colors that aren't available anywhere else, but when they see them advertised and marketed out there, so I say all that is like, there's all of this information coming from all over, right? It's online, it's big box, it's other run stores, it's everywhere. Influencers, you see. So the way to combat that for us is, one, we have like customer loyalty program that hopefully drives folks back to the store. It's going under some revisions right now. We're analyzing it, seeing what the right marks are. But, for currently the way it works, for every 200 you spend, you get $20 back. So it's essentially a 10% return, just to keep people coming back to the store. We do a lot of referrals with doctors, orthopedists, hosting events. and then some marketing, advertising, sponsoring races, and that's all good. It drives folks, in. But really, I think what does it for us and what gets people to come back or maybe gets some folks in once they find out about us is our service. We're hands on. We're more knowledgeable than what you'd get if you went somewhere else, to another big box store. So whether you shop with us or shop at another run store, shopping local, that's something we really try to push because it keeps dollars local. It helps local folks, not just me, but my staff as well. Keeps it in the community. Helps us create jobs that go out there and put it back out. And so we're always trying to think of ways to get folks in. Yesterday, we did something with a local nonprofit, which we love to partner with. So we do all these things to try to capture new folks. But really, once we get them in, like our return rates are low. They're lower than industry average, and I think a lot of that has to do with our service, our commitment to our customers, and our knowledgeable staff. You can go down the street to the mall, but you're not going to necessarily get the same type of service or quality, knowledge from them. I mean, they don't know; they're just whatever. And we really take our time to ask the questions and work with the customers.
I want to go off of that too, Matt. He's 100% right when I say that. I'm super easy. I don't have the patience for anything. So I try them on. I take a couple hops. I'm like, okay, good. And when Lisette went in there last year, I don't remember who it was that worked with her. I swear it was 45 minutes. I was going to go nuts. I was going to go crazy. I said, just get the shoes. Like, they seem fine. She just kept trying different colors, different sizes, the whole 9 yards, asking a million questions. And I'm like, do they feel good? Do they look good? Let's go. But yeah, like, the service was unmatched. I mean, the guy just sat there for like 45 minutes with her to make sure that everything was good. It was like her first real pair of running shoes, so she was taking her time, which is totally fair. That's where we're different. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that. So it's a lot different, making sure that everything, the product is what you want it to be, because there's a lot of different things in a running shoe, like the arch or the width or whatever it may be, that does matter.
Yeah, I mean, you want people to try it on, right? I mean, the last thing you want is to like order a shoe online, you get it a couple days later, then you put it on and you hate the way it feels. Are you gonna bite your pride and just keep it, or are you gonna like send it back and then you got to wait a few more days for it to go back, and you got to get go through that whole process, or come see somebody like us, try it on, make sure you walk out with the right pair of shoes, and you don't have to worry about any of that, and you get them the same day, But so that's what we do. It's hard. It's really hard. The economy is kind of not great when it comes to not a lot of discretion with their spending right now. Gas prices are high, food prices are high. So people are always looking for deals. So I understand why people might go online to look for stuff, but we have the same stuff. You can get deals through us, and with our rewards program, we hope that continues to bring people back. And we'll run sales, we'll do different things to attract them in and to move the product. But the competition continues to grow. So many people are in this Amazon society where they want to order stuff because it's so convenient and then have it show up the next day. And, it's something we got to fight and continue to fight, and just try to make sure we have the things that people want when they come in. And I think that's the biggest piece of it, and, provide that service so they come back.
Yeah. I'm on the team of like bring back shopping in person. Don't get me wrong. Every now and then it's nice to have something on Amazon ordered to your house, but I love like one of my favorite things growing up was going to get like school shoes or a pair of running shoes or basketball shoes for the season, and going and trying them on, and then and like being able to have them right then and there. And that was always super exciting. I always loved the way new shoes smell, and new running shoes always smell really good. So walking into a shoe store always smells just like that. That's the kind of vibe I like, especially in the fall. It's like getting ready for cross country season. You would buy your pair of shoes for the year and hope you didn't grow out of them too quick. And but part of that is, building the building customers that, keep coming back to you, keep pouring into the community, and getting that in return. What are some of the, we talked about sponsoring some races. We also have, like, you guys host the track nights at Wagner, and continue to kind of push, that community aspect of it. And I think that that's one of the most important things of, creating that. And especially, and I love it that the city of Louisville has such a rooted running community and history. I feel like I didn't even necessarily even realize that until I've come back from college, and I love seeing and hearing about that. I kind of wanted to hear a little bit about the track nights, kind of maybe give us when and where those take place, and like who can come and what do you guys kind of do there, and maybe kind of just give a little plug to anybody that's around the area that might want to join in or is scared to go join a group session that, they're kind of running on their own, but need that little bit of sense of community, where I think a local running store kind of provides that gate to go into that.
Yeah. So track night's a tradition that's been going on for years. But to your point, it can be intimidating for folks, especially if they've never run on a track before or know anything about it. When people hear speed work, they're like, "Oh my gosh, I don't know if this is for me." But the way we've built it, and it's adapted over time. It comes back to that community. We want everybody to feel like they're a part of it. It doesn't matter how fast you are, how slow you are. We have people that are from all spectrums of running. We have fast, slow, everything in between, and new, experienced, like everybody. And it's something we pride ourselves on because we are about the community. And to me, I don't care if you're first place or last place. In fact, if you're last place, you get more bang for your buck because you get, to spend more time on the course, right? So you get to enjoy it a little longer. But we really want to be there for everybody. And our track night's the same way. It's built for everyone. So it's every Tuesday night. It's free, no charge for it. It's at Wagner High School over on Hubbard's Lane. So it's right around the corner from the store. Most workouts last about an hour-ish, beginning to end. We try to have a lot of fun with it. I write the workout, so if anybody has complaints, they can just let me know. But and I take feedback from folks like, how was it? What'd you think of it? But what we've done to help make everybody feel like they're a part of it and more welcome is convert them to time-based workouts. So everybody starts and finishes at the same time. If it's distance-based, you got some fast people there. Well, they're finishing, and you might have somebody else out there that's out for another 20 or 30 minutes. And that's not what we're about. We really want to build that community and make sure that everyone there feels like they are welcome and that they are part of it. So we always do a warm-up together. We do some stretching together, and then we get into the workout. And then we encourage folks to do cool-downs together. Some do, some don't. But with it being timed, everybody's running, the same amount of time, doing the same workout. And that seems to be, a lot of folks appreciate that. It's brought out a lot of new people. We've had a lot of new faces this summer, which has been awesome. Some stick around, some come back and forth, not there every week. We got a lot of regulars out there. It's a lot of fun. A lot of people have gotten to know each other from being out because they see them every Tuesday. Then they'll see them at a race and they're like, "Hey, how's it going?" So it's pretty cool when you see that happen. But nothing's like too hard. Anybody can show up. Anybody's welcome to be there, even if you want to walk or just be out there and just kind of observe, just to see what it's all about. You're more than welcome to show up and come and hang out with us. Maybe we'll let them run the workout or something like that. So yeah, we have a lot. It's a lot of fun. We'll take pictures and videos and we'll post them on our social media. And it's kind of like our a nice little Ken Combs community a little bit, but it's kind of like our run club ish type deal that we do.
No, and that's awesome. I think that's a nice way to. It's almost basically it's like giving back to your customers. It's a way of hey, they would probably only really learn about it from coming in and everything. And it's a nice sense of community for runners, because one thing about running is that it's a solo sport, but it's a lot more fun done together. So a lot of people might be getting into workouts and stuff, and it's hard for them to commit to it. But obviously with a group there, they know it, look forward to it. I mean, it's just like, all three of us, we all run with people a lot. It's a lot easier, at least for me in the morning, to get up knowing I'm meeting, 5-10 people for whatever it may be, if it's a workout or just an easy run. So that's just a nice thing in the community. But we don't have a ton else. We just wanted to have a couple questions basically just to close here, just to get your final thoughts. But really the big one is just for the people listening, why should someone come, into Ken Combs, do in-person shopping instead of going online?
Well, I think one, we kind of touched on it. You're going to get some great service. Everybody in there, for the most part, has been there for a long time. We have a few new folks, but we're always going to be right by their side when helping you. So don't be intimidated when you come in, even if you're not a runner. If you're a walker, we get that all the time. I'm a walker, not a runner. Well, that's okay. Everybody's welcome in our store, but you're going to get great service with knowledgeable staff. We take a lot of pride in knowing a lot about the shoes, understanding how they work with different people, because not every shoe is the same. And our focus is making with whoever walks in that store. And it's not just about shoes. It could be nutrition, apparel, socks, whatever. Our goal is to help the people walking in that door achieve their goals. So whether it's pain management because they have plantar fasciitis, whether it's a new racing shoe, whether it's, maybe they're just looking for a local race to run in and they want to know what's coming up. Maybe it's apparel, socks, shoes. It doesn't matter. We're there to help that customer achieve their goals, and we want them to walk out happy. And, that's why we are here. We're not here without our customers, and we take a lot of pride in that. They become an extension of us, and we see a lot of repeat customers. We kind of get to know them a little bit, so we're able to ask them about their trips they may be going on, because they come in and get a nice pair of walking shoes because they're going to Europe, and or they're training for their first marathon or half marathon, and they come in asking about different types of fuel, and and then they come back later on and we chat about how everything went. So they become like a part of our community and a part of us, and we love to help everybody. We're not going to shy away from anybody. And a lot of people come in, oh, my feet are really messed up or something like that. Come on, we like a challenge. So, we wouldn't be here without our customers. There's been a lot of customers that have been there long before I was there, and there'll be a lot of customers that are there long after I'm there. And our goal is just take care of them, making sure that they get what they need and that they're happy when they walk out the door.
Awesome. And that leads me into my final question for you is, where do you hope to see Ken Combs Running Store in the next, near and far future from now? Where do you hope it goes?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because it's been a lot of internal in my head, internal thinking on this discussion with myself on, where are we now, and what do we want to be, and what does it take to get there? I think for us is when people think of Louisville running, I want them to think of Ken Combs Running Store. I want them, somebody comes to town and they're like, I need somebody new coming to town like Erik. I think we were the first place you came into, and I want I want somebody to recommend us. I want people to think, I need running shoes, I need walking shoes, I just need great service. I'm going to go to Ken Combs Running Store. I want to be the front of everybody's mind when they think of running, walking, fitness, being active in the city. What it takes to get there, it takes a lot, right? It's about being out in front of everybody, being out in the community, continue to raise awareness, continue to provide that great service, and just continuing to build on what we've done these last few years. It's been a little bit of a learning curve. I'm not going to say everything has gone easy, but as we continue to do better every day, we continue to strive to be better at what we're doing and how we work with our customers, and I think that's paying off. Given that the number of people we get coming back and who we see in the store, and we just want to be, Louisville running. That's what we want to be, and synonymous with that. So that's the goal. We don't have to be the biggest and best, but we don't have to be the biggest, but we need to be the best. So in order to get there.
Awesome.
But also at the same time, staying true to who we are, and, keeping a focus on making sure that, we're doing it the right way.
Awesome. Yeah. And right off of that, Ken Combs Running Store, located right here in Louisville, Kentucky, in St. Matthews, right off Shelbyville Road. And it's werunlou.com, right? Your website. You got online shopping and everything on there, as well as events and everything else. So, Matt, we really appreciate you coming on, and everyone listening. I hope this was informative for you guys, and hope to see you in Ken Combs soon.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, Matt, and all the listeners. We'll link the website, and as well as the link for Matt's charity that he's running New York City with. So thank you guys for listening. Matt, thanks for coming on. And all listeners, we'll catch you on the next one.